Hello, fellow old schoolers. Echo Greg here with a recorded recap for a recent event. This one being Glorycon 26. Glorycon is put on by Mike France out of the Old Order crew. It takes place in an historic tavern in Gettysburg and is a blast. Absolutely one of my favorite events. Real glad he puts it on, and big props to him. So this was a 6-round event. It was Atlantic with gentlemen's rules. So if you're not familiar with that, it's Mind Twist and Library of Alexandria are banned. Other than that, straight up Atlantic. So I played a Spice deck. I always try and spice Francis' events. So this was a deck that was kind of built on a theme. The last several Glorycons I have built up, starting on day 2 with the Battle of Little Round Top, and the second one was day 3 with Pickett's Charge. The third one was a deck built around the Gettysburg Address, and then this one is kind of built around what happens after a battlefield. So where scroungers, scavengers, historians all kind of show up and take over after the armies have left. So this is a deck kind of built around that as the theme. The way it works mechanically is you use Ashnod's Transmogrant to turn their creatures into artifacts. Ideally, you would then steal them with a Scarwood Bandits or a Steel Artifact. If you're not familiar with Scarwood Bandits, it's a 2 and 2 green, so a 4-drop 2/2 with Force Walk. But the relevant ability here is you can pay 2 and a green and tap it to take control of target artifact. The opponents may pay 2 to kind of stifle or counter this, but if you play it right, you can either force them to keep mana open, which is good because then they're not progressing their game plan, or you can steal some things, which I did throughout the tournament. If that doesn't work, it's pixies are there, right? Turn a Juzum into an artifact and block with a pixie. Scavenger folk are there, blow it up, disenchants. I can copy artifact it myself. And if I do steal it, I can sack it to the Sage of Latinam, and then it has Archaeologist there to recur the Transmogrant, so I can do it repeatedly. Also, with the Archaeologist, you could just constantly recur Chaos Orbs, which happened once and is real fun. In the sideboard, got some Blue Blasts. There, you can see my mana base is pretty weak to Blood Moon. I've just got one of each basic and the Moxton, so there for that. And any sort of big red, big fireballs, that kind of deck. Control Magic, again, it gets anything big, I can steal that. In most cases, they came in and the Steel Artifacts came out. Divine Offerings is more removal in case you run into a Shops type deck. This being Atlantic, I expected there to be quite a bit of mono black, or at least heavy black in the room, so had the Purges there in case they force me to discard. There is no Mind Twist, but there is him. And they're good against weenie decks. I can ping away Orders or Javeliers, things like that. Opposing Scavenger Folk, whatever. A 4 Swords in the boards, and then 3 Dervish again for the black decks. Also good against Abyss, although another nice thing with the Transmogrant is I can turn my own creatures into artifacts against the Abyss deck. So I'm not nearly as weak to Abyss as normally would be with this kind of a game plan. So it was 6 rounds. So my first opponent was against Jimmy Cooney out of the DC Darelures. Jimmy and I seem to play each other every time at Glorycon, so no real surprise there. Jimmy was on his Merfolk deck that he's been tuning for the last several years. It's basically counterburn with Merfolk as the creature base, but it's got Pearl Tridents, River Merfolk, Lord of Atlantis, Dibs, and then Chains, Bolts, main deck Disintegrates, Psyblast, Blood Moons, the Wheel, and then the Power. So Jimmy took this one down 2-1. Very close games. I did get to completely lock Jimmy out for most of game 2 with the Archaeologist Chaos Orb recursion. Eventually he did draw a bolt and took care of that, but by then I had established a board and beat him down pretty well. But he did take it in 3. The burn's just a tough one. He can kill all my value creatures and then get in with big merfolk and whatnot. Jimmy did top 8, so congratulations to Jimmy. I believe he was the 2nd seed overall going in. He had only lost 1 match all day, but he was knocked out in the quarterfinals, I believe. My second round was against Darren McGinnis. I had not met Darren before, so it was real nice to meet someone new. He was on a red-white Blood Moon aggro deck, Savannah Lions, Iron Claw Orcs, Granite Gargoyles, the Chains, the Bolts, some X-Spells, Blood Moons, Spicy Fork, a Wheel, and Vices. So I won this one 2-1. Again, real good back and forth games. Darren got a little unlucky and just at one point drew a lot of land where I was getting creatures. It was a very grindy game. Neither of us had many permanents on the board, but I was able to get there and took that one down. So after round 2, I'm 1-1, which is, I went into this again going for the spice, not really expecting to do very well. I figured maybe 1 or 2 match wins, and probably picking those up in the later rounds when I'm in like the 04, 05 bracket. So nice to get one early. So my round 3 was against Ryan McKinney. Ryan McKinney was on a variant of the deck with Sarahs and Moats instead of Abysses. But other than that, typical of the deck kind of stuff: Swords, Disenchants, Balance, the counter spells, the blue power, Tomes, and then splashing for the tutor, regrowth, that kind of stuff. This one he took down 2-0 pretty easy. He got out in game 1 like a turn 1 Sarah, and I just did not have an answer for it. Game 2, I think he had a turn 3 Sarah, and just again did not have an answer for it. Couldn't get anything rolling, and I just got steamrolled. So very quick 2-0, knocked me down to 1-2. So in round 4, I played against Abe Clayman, who is another one of the Maryland, Northern Virginia guys, DC Darelords. Known Abe for quite a while in old school, so always good to play him. It's always funny when you travel to these events, you always seem to play the guys that you know are local to, although I guess Glorycon's not really that far, so it's to be expected that lots of Maryland, Virginia guys would be there for that. But he was on a mono red kind of goblins burn type deck. You had Ironclaw Orcs, Goblin King, just the one of Goblin King, Yidwin Ifrit and Ball Lightning, and Dragon Whelp. Dragon Whelp's a fun card, and I think it is a little underplayed. The fact that it's only got 3 toughness and can be bolted is probably what keeps it down, but being able to pump it in and swing for 5 in the air each turn wrecks a lot of decks. The Fireball, some Vices, Goblin Grenades, and then the Goblin package, Goblin Artisans, which are really just there as a 1/1 Goblin, but I guess if he's playing a matchup where Vices don't matter, he could cast a Vice and try and draw a card off of it. Balloon Brigades, Goblins of the Flarg, and then the Lightning Bolts, Chains, and the Mana Base. So this one I was able to take down 2-1. Again, just real grindy games. He was able to bolt most of my stuff for a little while, but eventually I was able to get some things out and go. At one point he did get a Yidwin down, but I turned it into an artifact creature and was holding it at bay with a Pixies, and I think I was eventually able to at least keep him from doing much with the Scarwood threatening to steal it until I could swing around and win the game. So it was a very close one, but I ended up taking that one down 2-1 to improve my record to 2-2, which moves us to round 5 against Ben Revel. Ben is on a mono black deck. Again, this is expected to run into a bunch of these. This was the only one I ran into today, but right, the fast mana, Ices, which is cool. You don't see that in a lot of the mono blacks. It's more of a black control versus a straight up black aggro. Aeliopile to deal with white knights and white orders, I assume, mostly. I mean, it takes out other things too, but those would, I think, be the chief reasons to have them in there. Dark Rituals, Sinkholes, Hymns, Hippies, Orders, Knights, Royal Assassin, which is always a problem, Juzums and Sangers, and then the land. So I was able to take this one 2-1. This one was on stream, so this is recorded and will be on Joe Singer's The Orb YouTube channel. So when he starts uploading events from this with his great commentary, check that one out. Check them all out, but if you want to see my deck in action, I didn't really get to do the full combo off, but I did transmogrant his Juzum and hold it at bay for a while. He ended up winning that game just because he drew too much for me to handle, and some hippies and some orders I couldn't deal with. But in the pivotal game 3, he had a order down, and I had a Pixies, and I just kept attacking for 2 every turn because I had a Transmogrant in play, and if he had tried to block with order, I just turned his guy into an artifact, and it doesn't matter how many times he pumps it or first strikes, not going to deal any damage to the Pixies, and his order will die. So I was able to get him really low with that and eventually finish him off. So that was round 5. So I win that one 2-1, and I am 3-2. So we're going into the final round, round 6. I have a chance to finish with a 4-2 record, which would have been amazing. Very, very surprised at how well the deck played, and sometimes able to win out with some very grindy matches. So round 6 was against Tim Moran from the Hydra team up in New England. He was on another spicy deck as well. He was on a mostly blue Reanimator. Again, splash for white in there, and obviously the black for the Animate Deads. But no Bazaars, but he was using Sinbad as a kind of a bizarre replacement. And then Skull of Orm to get his Animate Deads. He also had Dance of the Dead and copy artifacts, control magics, Spirit Link's main, so you can cycle those back. But his creature package, main deck, deep spawns, Akron Legionnaires, which is a real spicy Reanimator target. You don't see that one very often. Moorish Cavalry, and then of course some Trikes. And you can see there in the picture those mini balls there. Those are actual Civil War bullets that he was using as Trike counters. So that was a very cool touch, and you can see what looks like a little cannon shot in the middle of the screen up there. Again, an actual Civil War relic. So that was a cool bit of spice and history to bring to the tables. Tim was also playing this deck unsleeved, so you can see there he does have beta cards and unlimited power in there, so always fun to play unsleeved. So great job to Tim. And again, another spicy winner, so taken down then in the round 6. He ended up taking that one down 2-1. If he got a creature out with Reanimate Dead, it was real hard to deal with, especially the deep spawns, which had let him run away. He got one out very early in game 1, and in game 3 I was able to take a grindy game 2, but couldn't get past the big guys. Didn't draw my removal in swords, or wasn't able to really take control of any of his stuff and use it against him. So congrats to Tim. Tim ended up finishing 4-2, and I believe 3rd in the spice. I finished 3-3, which again, very, very happy with that record, and I finished 4th in spice. So my swag for the weekend, I got so the card there in the table marker, that is original art by Anson Maddox, who was in attendance today. It's a reimagining of Animate Dead with a Civil War theme. So that's one of the things France puts on for all these Glorycon events. The first one was Swords of Plowshares, redone by Jeff Mangus to look like a Union soldier in the field. The second year was a, I might be getting these backwards, but I believe the second year was a Deep Elves of Shadow, reimagined to look like a Civil War nurse. And then the third year was Black Vice, reimagined to look like a soldier being crushed in a vice. The stuffy doll was altered up to, or painted to look like a soldier. Then this year had the animate dead. So real cool, always done by the artist there. The Vampire Bats was the giveaway card to have everyone sign. So you can see my opponents and some other people I ran into signed all that. And then the Landwehr Elves and the Ironclaw Orcs were my spice prizes. And then grabbed a table marker, as I always do, just to kind of commemorate the event. So that was Glorycon. Again, huge shout out to Franz and the whole Order crew for helping out. Levi was helping him run things, and it's always great to see all my old school friends out there and make some new ones, meet some new people. The event is amazing. I highly recommend getting to one if you can, but just be ready to sign up quickly. This year's, I believe, sold out in like 70 seconds or something like that. So it's a smaller event. There's only about usually 60 seats. This time he expanded it to 80. Usually there's a vendor there with cards. That vendor was not there this time, so there's some more seating events. But you can read all about it in Mike's report, which I will put a link to in the description below. So I hope you enjoyed this. Again, huge thanks to everyone involved with Glorycon. It was great to see everybody again, and looking forward to the next one in 2028. He usually does these every other year. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time.